Welcome to Hannity. And tonight, the Democratic National Convention is now finally over, thankfully. But there wasn't anything really Democratic about it, was there? Kamala Harris was coronated after winning 0 primary votes. Last night's acceptance speech was short on details, full of a lot of lies. And what was missing more than anything else was any list of accomplishments she could cite that she has achieved over the last 3.5 years. Now, the reason for this is simple. There are no accomplishments. Harris, Biden, economic policies, they have failed. You feel it every day. Their immigration policies have resulted in murder, in rape and violence, and is costing all of you billions of dollars every single year. Harris, Biden energy policies are breaking the bank for over half the country. They don't need to be this high. Their support of defund, dismantle, no bail laws are similarly a disaster for we the people. And Harris, Biden foreign policy has frankly emboldened every bad actor on the world stage. But Kamala's speech convention, that was, frankly, just one big con artist Kamala from beginning to end, including, we're supposed to have a big surprise guest, one that never appeared because they wanted people to watch Kamala. The Party of Joy, which cracks me up, and Freedom showed nothing but hatred of one man, Donald Trump. The entire convention, they weren't talking about the issues to make your life better. As I said last night, their hope is your hatred or their hatred of rage will be conveyed to you in such a way that it'll transfer to you and you will hate Donald Trump more than success, prosperity, and security for you and your family. We'll get into all that in a moment. But first, bad news for the Harris campaign tonight. Just one day after the fever dream that was the DNC, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made the decision to suspend his campaign, withdrawing his name from the ballot in 10 swing states and endorsing Donald Trump. And moments ago, Kennedy, as we showed you right here on the Fox News channel, appeared with Donald Trump on stage in Arizona, where the former president vowed to create a commission to investigate presidential assassinations, an investigation into chronic diseases, and much, much more. Things we really need to know and do. Take a look.
We are both in this to do what's right for the country. That's one thing I can tell you. He lost his father and uncle in service to our country, and Bobby himself was subject to repeated threats to his safety during the course of his campaign while being denied protection by the Harris-Biden administration. And this is a tribute in honor of Bobby. I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts.
Now, before the Trump rally today, during a momentous speech, well, Kennedy spoke openly about the political machine that will stop at nothing to consolidate power at all costs. Take a look.
What most alarms me isn't how the Democratic Party conducts its internal affairs or runs its candidates. What alarms me is the resort to censorship and media control and the weaponization of the federal agencies. When a U.S. president colludes with or outright coerces media companies to censor political speech, it's an attack on our most sacred right of free expression, and that's the very right upon which all of our other constitutional rights rest.
Now, RFK Jr. and I, we don't agree on everything. We did have him for a town hall. We did hear him out. There are areas where we agree. He is absolutely, positively right about the dangers of big media in this country and their censorship. They won't even show you Kamala and Tim Walz in their own words. The danger of lawfare, the danger of big pharma, an abusively biased federal bureaucracy that is completely and totally out of control, a weaponized system of justice. He's right about the war on our children, and he's been outspoken about the need for more border security. In many ways, RFK Jr. is a victim of this system. He was running for president to hold our government accountable. Well, that's supposed to be the American way, but the Democratic Party, our very own government, they did everything in their power to prevent him from ever reaching the finish line. And the media, well, they just aided and abetted the whole process. They took him to court. They bled his campaign dry in state after state after state. He laid this out today. attempting to block him from the ballot, the party of former President John F. Kennedy and his own father, Robert F. Kennedy, refused to even allow him to attempt to compete. He was just completely shut down. Now, you talk about democracy in peril. The party that waxes so poetic about democracy tried to block democracy in real time, in action. Now, the Biden administration even refused to provide him, as President Trump mentioned, with Secret Service protection for months on end. This drove me insane, despite what we knew were credible threats against any Kennedy member. Unfortunately, it's sad, it's tragic. Provide them the Secret Service protection. Now, this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And as President Trump mentioned, both his father and his uncle, as president, his uncle, was assassinated. And meanwhile, the state-run media mob was hostile towards this campaign from day one. They won't vet Kamala Harris. They won't vet Tim Walz. They won't play them in their own words. They would rather keep you ignorant and do everything they can do to create the equivalent of Joe Biden hiding in his basement all throughout the 2020 campaign. Now, they tried to destroy and censor RFK Jr. around every single turn. They should be ashamed of themselves, but journalism's dead. Now, even today, almost no major networks took Kennedy's speech. Fake news CNN carried the speech for a little while until Kennedy started sharing the truth about the media. Then they said, oh, we've heard enough. The big networks, they didn't carry it live. MSDNC, they didn't carry one word of his speech. Pretty powerful institutions now in the Democratic Party, combined with the deep state and government and media mob, are all putting every single cinder block on the scales of yet another presidential election. We have chronicled this in 2016 and 2020 for you. I'll be honest, I watched this today with Bobby Kennedy Jr. I felt sorry for him and all that they put him through and how they're treating him and how they stacked the deck against him every and any way they could. These institutions are, frankly, fundamentally, foundationally corrupt, and these same forces are, frankly, propping up and protecting Harris, Walz, every way they possibly can. Why won't the media? Ask yourself, why won't they show Kamala and Walz in their own words, like we have been doing on this program and a few other programs? Why won't they expose her radicalism? Why are they allowing her to avoid all press conferences, all interviews, all gaggles for well over a month? How long does she need to prepare for a single, softball cupcake interview? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said that Kamala's campaign was nothing but smoke and mirrors, and he's right. Take a look.
Instead of showing us her substance and character, the DNC and its media organs engineered a surge of popularity for Vice President Harris based upon, well, nothing. No policies, no interviews, no debates, only smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. That is Kamala's campaign in a nutshell, and that was the entire DNC. I'm glad to be home in the free state of Florida. It was one big lie from beginning to end. And we have a fake, phony, week-long event. Pretty much zero substance. Were they talking about inflation, the economy, the danger of their open borders, 11 million unvetted Harris Biden illegal immigrants, the rape, the murder, the violent crimes that are being committed, the high cost to all of you? No, they weren't talking about any of that. The high cost of the energy pop? No, they weren't talking about that either. And never ending. The party of joy and freedom, as they say. It was really the joy of hate, the joy of hating Donald Trump, if you call that joy. On night one, Democrats waved, "Oh, we love Joe" banners all over the place. You watch Nancy; she was clinging to her, "We love Joe, we love Joe," and all she did was stab Joe in the back. And Biden delivered his farewell address week after people like Pelosi and Schumer and Obama and Hollywood elites like George Clooney, the idiot that he is, forced him to end his campaign. They didn't love Joe. They kicked him to the curb. And yet here they are pretending they love Joe. If they loved Joe, they wouldn't have treated him that way. On night two, you had socialist Bernie Sanders, which frankly, well, night one it was AOC, night two it was Bernie. I mean, that is now the heart and soul. That is the new radicalized Democratic, frankly, radical Marxist, socialist, communist party that they are. and he was trashing capitalism and billionaires. His speech was immediately followed by the billionaire governor of Illinois. Can't make that up. And on night 3, we heard from Kamala's running mate, Tim Walz, who claims to be a middle-of-the-road moderate from the Midwest. He's anything but it in his case. Okay, let's see. Legal driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. Oh, and they get free college in Minnesota. How nice. Oh, and let's put feminine hygiene products in boys' bathrooms in schools. Great idea. Let's have, quote, gender-affirming care. And we don't need to tell mom and dad, you know, why do we need parents? Walz is a far-left, radical, extreme, frankly dangerous leftist obsessed with communist China. He's lied about everything from his service in the National Guard. He claimed he fought in a war zone. He never did. He lied about his rank. He lied about being a head football coach. He lied about his drunk driving arrest in the 90s. He even lied about using IVF to conceive children. Walz is most famous for letting Minneapolis burn for days on end during the mostly peaceful, as they said, not true, 2020 riots. And that was before he finally was forced to send in the National Guard. After a proper DEI vetting, his family opened up the windows to their family home. Why? Because as the rioting was going on and businesses destroyed and people were dying, they wanted to take in the smell of burning tires. Maybe they like the smell of a roadkill skunk, too. And they wanted to bask in the historic moment. Kamala encouraged and supported the rioters and insurrectionists and helped bail them all out of jail. Where's Liz Cheney when you need her? Democrats, they want you to believe they are moderate public servants, anything but. And then on night 4, the grand finale last night, it was Kamala's big night to shine. Plus, there were reports about a big name that was going to, you know, take to the stage big. And in fact, 2 separate Democrats, they told me personally, Beyonce was in the house. She was in the building. I have no doubt, by the way, that they were told that. I also have no doubt that top Democrats told the same thing to TMZ. I know the people at TMZ. I know Harvey Levin. He is a straight arrow when it comes to reporting. And there was some source, he probably is not going to reveal it, that told him with certainty it was happening. And guess what? He was lied to. The Democrats I talked to, they were all lied to, too. There was no surprise guest, more smoke and mirrors, more deception, probably to boost viewership. But this was the entire week, a dishonest, deceptive charade designed to fool all of you, not win your support. You didn't hear about better policies for you and your family and your future. Nonstop nightmares about the left's very scary, you know, boogeyman project 2025. I don't have any clue what's in 2025. Trump has absolutely and had nothing to do with it, wants nothing to do with it. He said it over and over again. And they lied about his position on abortion, on the economy, on immigration. They just flat out lied all night after night after night. You know, we got nonstop fear-mongering about Trump. And can you believe it? Kamala is just as upset as all of us and all of you about the high prices of bread and eggs and the open border problem. Now, she told us inflation was transitory and that Bidenomics is something we're very proud of, and that the border is secure. She didn't visit it, but she never visited Europe either. She promised if elected, she would hold the current administration accountable and immediately fix all of these serious problems. This is insanity because she owns these problems. She caused these problems. She's the last person in the room, right? And now wants to pretend like she had nothing to do with any of it. Oh, okay. First you deny it, then you blame Joe, and then you say you're going to fix it. And I say, why aren't you fixing it now? Why didn't you fix it in the last 3.5 years? And what are all these magical policies that she's been keeping secret for the last 4 years that are a direct contradiction of everything she said in 2019 and 2020? You know, what's the magic pill that's going to solve your problems? Now, of course, she didn't say last night. She's never going to say because she can't say. She can't list a single policy position on her website or sit down for an interview or hold a presser or go anywhere near anything without a teleprompter. And today she answered just one question. A reporter shouted, "What's next?" And she answered, quote, "We're going to walk up those stairs." That's next. I'm pointing to the steps to Air Force Two. This is not a campaign. It is a con. It is a coordinated effort by very powerful institutions, the one that Bobby Kennedy Jr. described in detail today, to hide what is the most radical, extreme, unlikable candidate in American history with the most dangerous policies possible. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.